Updog.
Updog. Updog.
Updog Sports Talk.
Hello, and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. My name is Matt Miller. Joined to me,
Point to you?
I don't know. To my right, I guess the left of the screen, Justin McGovern. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, man? Long time no see.
Much. I know, it's been like 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while, but
hey, guess what, Justin?
Hey, we've been counting. If you guys have been at home, then that's cool with us, but I know we've been definitely counting and ready to get another show in.
Hey,
we're really excited.
Hey, no one cares. We're the only ones that
cool
care.
then. All right, let's dive right in. So we should go ahead and get started here. We'll start off with college football. We will be talking about the NFL later on as well. So I would say what really is the first thing that points out here is the surprising undefeated teams so far. There's at this point in the year already we're down to 9 unbeaten teams. Matt, some surprises that stick out on the list here.
So I'll actually start with UC. I thought they were going to go undefeated to this point, but a lot of people didn't. So I guess you can label them as a surprise. Wake Forest is probably the biggest conference, Power 5 conference surprise, because Dave Clawson just has something special down there.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely dive a little bit more into them later on when we talk about the ACC. But how about
the Roadrunners?
I know the Roadrunners at UTSA. What a surprise this team is. These guys are the little underdog story. Yeah, and really, they really kicked it on at the right time with expansion going on in college football. I would say just how well they're playing this year actually made them a viable candidate for the American. And you think about San Antonio's a massive city. They have an NBA team. They do not have an NFL team, even though they've been a candidate for many, and they decided to put 2 teams in LA instead. That's another story. But this team has the city behind them. So there's definitely a lot of potential here, and it's really cool to see this program finally hit it.
Yeah.
But how about a team that's perhaps they're higher ranked ahead of them, but perhaps even more under the radar? San Diego State is also.
For those of you who do not know, I'm going to spoil it, Justin. That's Brady Hoke.
Yes.
You know, the last time we saw that man?
When?
Well, I think we saw him in between, but the last time that anyone actually cared for him was when he was at Michigan.
Well, you have to give him some credit, though. He is the last Michigan coach to defeat Ohio State. So you have to give him that one. They also have the most electric punter in college football right now. This man is bombing 80-yard punts every single week and making tackles. Like, what more could you ask for this guy? This team is just a rough and tough, grinded out team, running the ball and playing great defense, punting the ball all over the place. They've been a surprise so far.
Yeah, they've been playing lights out football.
Yeah, and good for Brady Hoke.
Hey, remember that year when their quarterback had the Dingwall Award?
Yes. Oh,
he
my.
had 6 picks against Ohio State in the first half.
Yeah, and he threw 4 the week before as well. That guy was absolutely terrible and then was never seen again.
He's actually an insurance salesman. I looked him up on the internet.
This for those of you who have no idea why Matt looked him up, we actually created an award for this guy. The Dingwall Award. Basically, it goes to the shittiest quarterback every single year who throws the most picks in college football. We'll do a show on this later on in the year. How about that?
Probably near the end of the season.
Yeah, I would say so. But a little trivia for you. When Brady Hoke did defeat Ohio State, who was the coach of Ohio State back then?
That would be the one, the only, Luke Fickell.
Well, that brings us to UC.
That was like the worst transition of all time.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes we just need a sharp transition. We just need to hop right into it. Definitely, everyone got more San Diego State content than they expected today. But the Bearcats, they are just looking like a strong team. They easily defeated Notre Dame at Notre Dame. And really, if UC didn't make a bunch of red zone mistakes, they could have made it a worse score than it even was. Yeah. Matt, obviously, as a UC fan, let's hear your thoughts on this team.
Well, I did have a hat. It fell down and rolled away. So, yeah, they're led by their defense, which is outstanding.
Yes.
Offense takes quite a while to start up in the first half.
And then
overall, half, that's when they take it.
Overall, it seems like Ritter he still has times where he doesn't have his days. Like against Navy, not his best.
Jerome Ford, does that name ring a bell at all?
Oh yeah, that man is an absolute beast.
He's a Alabama transfer, and he's just like if they're gonna put Ritter's name up there, they might as well put Ford's name up there too, because they're both playing super hot right now.
Yeah, and that receiving core is looking pretty good. Offensive line still questionable. But the fact is, UC just needs to keep grinding along here and picking up big time wins because
and
not big time, but like blowout wins.
Big time play candidate on defense, Sauce Gardner.
Oh yeah,
keep an eye out for his name.
He still has not given up a touchdown in his career, which is just crazy to me.
I know,
especially when you consider how many picks he has.
Yeah,
but yeah, this team they need to take care of business and keep winning by a lot because we know the committee will try to do everything they can to keep them out of the playoff. I know as we keep going here as a show, we're going to be pushing for them to make the playoff because this team is definitely proven that they deserve it.
Yeah, and I actually got into arguments with idiots on the internet, and by idiots I mean Ohio State fans, because someone posted, should UC or Ohio State have a better chance? And I said, UC has a better chance because they're undefeated. Ohio State got placed above Oregon, who beat them. So
yeah, this has been a major thing, and we'll talk about that when we get to the Pac-12 section as well. But I don't know, sometimes this committee seems to write off results that they don't like or something. Because I mean, right now this is normal polls. We know when the committee rankings come out next week, they'll probably have Ohio State ahead of Oregon too. But yeah, they seem to write off different results for, if it doesn't fit their narrative, it seems like.
They have their own agenda.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far they try to put UC down, because obviously UC is number 2 in the normal polls right now. And really, with what they've done so far, I think that's where they belong.
At this point, it wouldn't surprise me if they had USC jumping them.
I don't think USC.
Shout out to our boy Derek.
Yeah, go Derek. But I guess mentioning the playoff, we're going to talk about the ACC and their playoff hopes. Their playoff hopes rest with Wake Forest right now. This team is undefeated and has been a surprise so far. It's still a question if they can actually make it unbeaten the entire way, but if Wake Forest doesn't go undefeated, I don't see how this league can get a team in the playoff this year.
Yeah. I mean, after that, then you're looking at Pitt. And at that point, it's going to have to be a bunch of 1 or 2 lost teams trying to get in too.
Yeah, Pitt, though, definitely so far they've been so far under the era of the, let me make sure I get this right, the Chris Pickle class of 1997 head coach Pat Narduzzi. Under this era so far, they have pulled quite a few upsets. They've always looked like they're on the cusp of breaking out, but never seemed to get above mediocrity. This year, Pitt has finally done it, and they are led by Kenny Pickett, who was probably one of the most pedestrian quarterbacks in college football the previous 3 years that he's been the starter, and all of a sudden he has just caught fire this year.
Yeah, I mean, something just clicked over there.
Yeah,
but you know who's a big surprise? Sam Howell and the North Carolina Tar Heels. they were way overranked by every poll, and then look at them, 4-3.
Yep, they were way overrated. I think everyone was just I don't know why they jumped on this train so much. I mean, Sam Howell hasn't looked like a special quarterback to me. A lot of the talent that was around him is in the NFL now.
Yeah, both running backs are there.
Right, both running backs are actually like at least like 50-50 playing like with each of the teams. That was a lot of talent to lose, and I don't really understand why that team got put in the top 10. That was shut down pretty quickly with a loss to Virginia Tech, who also is not doing well at the moment. Also a bust, Miami. I don't know how Miami ended up in the top 15 this year. I think it was just to give Alabama a quality win in week 1, but very quickly Miami has proven to be a pretty bad team too.
They're pretty bad. They've been pretty bad since they got caught cheating.
But obviously, the elephant in the room here, and the reason why the Atlantic Coast Conference is actually the name of this conference. The reason why the ACC's playoff hopes are on life support here is because their usual playoff contender, the Clemson Tigers, are nowhere to be found at the top. This team has just collapsed, Matt.
I know. I think it was just one of those unfortunate circumstances where the talent that they had went to the NFL, and the talent they have is not developed yet. So I think they'll bounce back in years to come. But I just like right now,
it's just
you can't
like
Dabo Sweeney might want to take a pay cut.
Like I don't know if it's just like the people because they've been obviously churning out ridiculous recruiting classes for years and years now. I don't know if it's just like the recruits they got just didn't pan out like expected or what, but the offensive line is absolutely atrocious. None of the running backs they have are special. DJ Uyangale, I cannot believe I pronounced that right. He has struggled, but they put in the backup
well against Notre Dame last year.
Yeah, he looked good last year. Now this year has struggled, and honestly, I think a lot of it's just what's around him. Like the DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins, Mike Williams. Those like receivers like that just aren't out there right now. They have Justin Ross, who hasn't been the same since his injury, and that's about it.
Yeah, and he was really good his freshman year, and then all of a sudden, like I haven't heard anything since he got hurt.
Yeah, well, he had I think he had a severe injury, and then he's kind of disappeared off the face of the earth since then, which is really sad because that guy was.
Hopefully, he can back T's and P's. Hopefully, he can bounce back.
Yeah, but definitely at this point, this is a bit of a mismatch of conference here. But
it turned out to be a terrible conference, so we actually don't have much more to say on that.
Yes. Moving on to the Big 12. I decided we had to get the little horns down in there. Texas was once again hyped up to be a contender in this conference, and they came and hold on to double-digit leads.
Actually, the biggest surprise to me in this division is how Oklahoma has stayed undefeated.
Seriously, how are they undefeated still?
Spencer Rattler is terrible, and then what's his name? Hamilton or something?
Caleb Williams?
Yeah. I don't know why I said Hamilton.
Hamilton? What are you talking about?
Williams came in the other, I think it was like 2 weeks ago when Rattler was playing terrible, and then he just like lit up. Was it Oklahoma State?
He lit up Texas.
Texas, that's who it was. They have the same colors.
Yeah. Which, of course, everyone's lining up the Texas defense. And they could barely even beat Kansas. Like, look.
So my question is actually, I don't know if we've done a show since this was announced, but Texas going to the SEC, do you think they're going to be competing with Vanderbilt when they get there, or how do you think that's going to play out?
Oh, yeah, we did talk about this in the past show. Actually, Texas is the only SEC team that has a losing record to Vanderbilt. And Oklahoma's not even going to be contending for the SEC. They're going to be in the class with Auburn and all that. So, but yeah, seriously, how is this Oklahoma team undefeated? They should have lost by now. They in fact they have escaped a close battle with most of the teams in the bottom of this conference. Kansas State, West Virginia, they should have lost to, but West Virginia had a bad snap to lose that one. I don't know. At some point, you feel like Oklahoma's got to lose. If they somehow don't, then I mean they're going to lose by 30 in the playoff anyway. So,
The UC.
for the sake of good football, let's hope they lose eventually. But I guess we should talk about some of the other teams in this conference. Iowa State was ranked number 7 in preseason.
Well, they did lose their running back for the year on like the first play of the season. So
that was Iowa. No, it was Minnesota actually. Iowa State still has Breece Hall. But Iowa State
been playing as well.
He's gotten better again. Everyone on the team's gotten better in October, but the problem with Iowa State is they just can't play well in September.
I miss when Iowa State had their like third string quarterback as their starting linebacker, and then he would come in and just torch everyone's defense.
Dude, that was the best. I forget what that guy's name is, but that guy was.
I don't know either. He was just torching everyone.
But yeah, Iowa State can't overcome the September slow starts. It's probably why Matt Campbell's no longer on any of the coaching search lists because let's face it, if you're USC and LSU, you can't afford to start slow in September.
I think UC can run through most of this division.
I would say so.
When they get there, I think they can run, at least based on the teams right now.
Hey, these UC Oklahoma State games are going to be lit.
Yeah, I can't wait for those.
Moving on to the Big Ten, and obviously the surprise team is Michigan State.
Yeah, Mel Tucker's got something brewing up there.
Yeah, he brought in like quite a few transfers this year, and all of them have panned out super well. Kenneth Walker is just an absolute electric factory of a running back. Their quarterback is playing well. And obviously they play strong defense. That is always what a Mel Tucker team is going to do. But yeah, obviously a big one coming up.
State is third in the division, but ranked ahead of both the teams in front of them.
Yeah, of course.
Also, Iowa is a good team, a really good team, but their offense is full of frauds.
They're not even frauds. Everyone knows they stink. I mean, like, I just never understood how Iowa continues to go around, like, never finding anyone in offense. Like, do they even try to scout quarterbacks, or they just like?
I mean, Hawkinson came out of there, but they do not produce quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa produces excellent running backs, excellent tight ends, excellent offensive linemen and defensive linemen, pretty much anyone in the defense, but never quarterbacks. I just like, I don't know how they. I mean, they have such a good team other than their quarterback position this year.
I know it's like they're the one team I think that has never had a good quarterback.
Yeah,
I
would
think
say
of anyone who's come from Iowa that is a starting quarterback. Like
Ricky Stanzi had a brief stint as a backup. But yeah, that was about it. So yeah, they ended up losing to Purdue.
As much talking that I've done with Ohio State, I do have to admit they have come a long way since week 1.
Oh yeah,
their offense kind of is figuring it out. Their defense is starting to stop people, so that's a huge thing. But they are in a pretty weak part of their schedule.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious. Ohio State plays Penn State this weekend. Pretty much the top 4 of the Big Ten East play each other this weekend. So it's kind of a Big Ten East playoff here. Ohio State is, that the offense is just absurdly loaded with talent. Like Stroud's playing better now, and part of it was he was hurt too. After he took a game off against Akron, he came back healthy, and he is just throwing darts all over the field pretty much since then. The receivers are just stupid talented. Like it won't all be this year.
They have the deepest receiving core in college football. But for 3 weeks, it seems like they could not figure it out.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely they will have, I believe, at least 5 first-round picks out of that group. Not all this year, obviously. Yeah. 2 of them will be this year.
My favorite is Marvin Harrison Jr.
I know, dude. I'm so excited for Marvin Harrison Jr. But
I really wish he didn't go to Ohio State, but I gotta respect it.
But yeah, we have to touch on Michigan. Michigan has obviously been a very surprising team this year. They've been running the ball.
Jim Harbaugh kind of figured it out? Like, was he on the hot seat or?
We'll find out this weekend. This weekend will change a lot of the narrative here of Michigan and Michigan State. Those two, this is a major proving ground game for both teams. The winner is a playoff contender. The loser isn't out yet, but there will be a lot of questions. Just like there's questions about Penn State because they lost in 9 overtimes to Illinois.
Hey, sometimes someone's got to do it. Might as well be them, right?
This game was actually funny to watch. Like, I literally was laughing at the end of the 6th overtime when neither team had still found a way to convert a 2-point conversion yet. I mean, there was like 5 unsuccessful overtimes in a row. It was just the weirdest, funniest thing to watch. But yeah, oops, Nebraska got cut off the screen. Poor Nebraska.
So what's the next division we got?
Next conference we got is the Pac-12. Obviously, the Oregon Ducks are currently being robbed by all the polls right now because they beat Ohio State at Ohio State, and no one seems to remember that a few weeks in. But what are your other thoughts on this conference of mismatched teams?
It's pretty bad. I mean, Oregon State's a big surprise. We haven't seen them have a winning record in like forever.
Yeah.
Utah, I thought they'd be a little bit better, but it doesn't surprise me that they're not doing great. But
in all reality,
Arizona State was actually going to be like up there, but apparently not.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it is though. We should update the graphic here for the Pac-12 South and just put BYU up here at 4-0 and San Diego State at 2-0 because those two are undefeated against the Pac-12. But yeah, Utah kind of had some struggles early in the year. Although again, their 2 non-conference losses were the BYU and San Diego State. Those appear to be pretty good teams this year. But Utah had some things to figure out at quarterback. And once they figured that out, they started winning and then lost to Oregon State. And basically, that's the other issue this conference has is other than the Oregon Ducks, no one has been able to gain traction at all. It seems like one week UCLA looks super good and then they lose. Then Arizona State looks good and then they lose. And then Utah looks good and then they lose. Now this week, Oregon State's a hot team. Can they hold on?
Well, this is the exact reason why everyone always puts Pac-12 at 5th in the list of Power 5 conferences. Like it's clearly SEC, Big Ten, and then ACC when Clemson's good, and then Big 12 and Pac-12. But Pac-12 is showing why they actually shouldn't be a Power 5 conference. They have like 3 Power 5 teams that actually are worth talking about this year.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, these are still all solid teams. They just cannibalize each other. I mean, even Oregon,
the Cardinal is a solid team. Then yeah, I actually don't have a comeback for that. But I just wanted to throw in how bad Stanford is.
They beat Oregon though. That's the ridiculous thing about this conference. You just don't know
Does that means Stanford, the Cardinals, better than the Buckeyes?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, if there's a transitive property out there where you could argue that how Colorado is better than Alabama.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
we can dive into that in another video. Who we got next?
And Arizona, by the way, 19-game losing streak. They haven't won a game in 2 years. Let's just hope they get a win at some point.
Yeah, I kind of like them, but not right now.
Poor Arizona. On to the SEC. We obviously the team to talk about here is the Georgia Bulldogs. Can anybody stop them, Matt?
No, they're too good. Their defense team has like what if the season ended right now? They would have the record for like the easiest schedule.
Yeah, and their defense has been absolutely ridiculous. Like, I mean, you can just see it here. Look, we have a points for and points allowed here. Just look at their defense. 46 points allowed all year. None of the other ones are even close to that.
I know. They have like I was saying, they have the best defense. Like UC, I looked it up the other day. Prior to this previous weekend, I think UC had 68 points against, and 14 of those were literally garbage time against someone a few weeks ago. So
Yeah,
like UC could be like somewhat on par with Georgia, but like Georgia, like at least statistically, but Georgia is gonna just wipe the floor clean this year. Like if they face Alabama, or when they face Alabama in the SEC championship, Alabama might get booted out of the playoff.
I will say how Alabama lost a game this year to Texas A&M, which is a big surprise. But how Texas A&M beat Alabama was they absolutely dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. That is how they beat Alabama, and that is the edge that Georgia has on them as well. So that is a bad sign for Alabama. Really, the main thing that Georgia has to overcome with Alabama this year is the mental hurdle. Alabama has absolutely had their number. Nick Saban owns Kirby Smart's ass at this point. Georgia needs to finally overcome it this year, and if they don't, will they ever? Probably not. Not until Nick Saban retires.
Or Kirby Smart leaves and someone else better comes in.
But yeah, that team is just low with talent. Obviously, we have a few disappointments in this conference too. The Florida Gators have not been good at all, even though they brought Alabama to the edge. Ever since then, has not looked good for Florida. LSU has already fired Ed Ogeron this year.
Yeah, they pre-fired him, and he's been bringing his girlfriends to practice. Girlfriends plural. He's bringing his girlfriends to practice, and he's going out every night and doing what Urban Meyer did. But since he's not married anymore, it's okay.
What an absurd human being. And I say the other surprise here is just look at the points for Tennessee is actually the second highest scoring offense in this conference. So a little bit of excitement there and promise for Tennessee. They might make a bowl game this year.
Third highest. Oh, I was looking at a conference. My bad. This is laid out weird.
Yeah, I know a little bit. Yeah, I don't like the.
Why wouldn't you put the overall first and then the conference later? Like that's so dumb.
I know. Oh well.
All right, moving on.
Moving on to the NFL.
Starting in the NFC. The Arizona freaking Cardinals, man.
Seriously, this team is just so ridiculously good. Kyler Murray is just on a new level.
Defense is what got me. They got rid of Patrick Peterson and a couple of linebackers, and I'm like, I don't know how their defense is playing. So I mean, they got Budda Baker and them, but it's like I don't know how that defense is playing as good as they are.
They got some young guys stepping up. Isaiah Simmons, especially, he has just been all over the field. He
had a disappointing year last year and has really stepped it up.
Chandler Jones just set the tone for the season with 5 sacks in the season opener. J.J. Watt has been super good. And this offense they have the experience in A.J. Green. Rondale Moore has made electric plays. So has Christian Kirk
out of the slot.
And obviously, DeAndre Hopkins has done DeAndre Hopkins things.
Not as good as usual, but a lot of mouths to feed. And they got Zach Ertz.
Yep, just added Zach Ertz. He got a touchdown his first game there. Offensive line's played pretty solid. Like this team is a true contender for the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, but the question is, can they keep it up? And do they want to lose? Should they get the losses out early?
Well, we'll see. Obviously, they got a big one here on Thursday night against the Green Bay Packers.
That's going to be a hell of a game. Aaron Rodgers has been playing lights out football lately. I mean, he struggled against the Bengals defense, but to be fair, almost everyone has.
Right. They had the season opening loss to the Saints and just looked absolutely terrible in that game. And then have completely turned it around since then.
I think behind the scenes, there was some words said from Aaron Rodgers to the team, and the team rallied around Aaron Rodgers to prove a point to Gunther.
Absolutely. And I mean, part of it too could just be it was just week 1. There's some jitters. The Saints controlled the ball early on and really just one of those things that kind of like cycles out a little bit. The Buccaneers still look as good as always. Tom Brady is throwing more touchdowns than anyone in the NFL so far this year. He is having a just ridiculous season. Leonard Fournette has taken command of that backfield, which has given them a true running game too. It's just stopping this offense is going to be difficult.
Yeah, but it's also getting around that defense is pretty easy right now.
Yeah. Their defense is a weird one to kind of pay attention to because nobody can run the ball on them. You have to pass the ball pretty much against that team. And so far, like I'm pretty sure they're ranked like first in run defense and last in pass defense because of that. Pretty much everybody that's played them has thrown the ball like 40 times on them.
Now the Rams, though, the Rams look pretty good, but damn, did they scare me against the Lions.
Old Motor City Dan Campbell there was bringing a lot of enthusiasm for that
bringing
one.
the heat. The Cowboys are a big surprise. I actually thought the Cowboys. They have proven us wrong. And I both had the Cowboys as like last in the division.
Yeah,
maybe in front of the Eagles.
I don't think we had them. In front of the Eagles. We had them in front of the Eagles, but yeah, we roasted the Cowboys pretty good in our preseason previews, and we have been very wrong about that. Their defense has just completely turned it around. Trayvon Diggs has definitely helped with that, but just overall, like they seem to have a better scheme in place with Dan Quinn.
Trayvon Diggs is a weird situation.
Yeah, because he's given up a lot of yards. He's a playmaker. He's given up
so many yards, but he has like an NFL record in picks for his first 7 games.
Yeah, it's
6
crazy.
games. But the Falcons kind of surprised me. I didn't think they'd be 3-3, but again, they kind of played some weak teams.
Yeah, I think a lot of their wins are against bad teams. I will say though, like I did not expect to look at the division standings and see them just like one game out of the playoffs right now.
Yeah. One thing I do have to mention is some dude tried to roast us on YouTube in the comments for trashing the Carolina Panthers defense.
Oh man, they're going to be top 5. Let this go.
No, I will not let this go. He said that like 5 games in, or I think it was 3 games in, he said that he's like, yeah, what do you guys have to say now? And then I'm pretty sure they lost every game since, have like one of the worst looking defenses. Sam Darnold sucks. DJ Moore's not getting me any points in fantasy.
The curse of the random YouTube commenter.
Yeah. We'll find out his name and then we'll add a curse to it. And then the curse of whatever his name is.
But actually, I will say, though, I don't think a lot of it's been on their defense. Sam Darnold looked good.
Darnold is god awful right now. He played like 3 good games and that was it.
He played good the first 3 games and then has been absolutely terrible since.
McCaffrey's been in and out, so that's a big part of it. And Howard is nowhere near McCaffrey status. So that plays a part in it. And then Robbie Anderson's not getting any targets. I don't know what is going on.
When he's getting targeted, he's dropping them anyways. So yeah, he's not doing anything. Yeah, Carolina started out 3-0. They have fallen apart since. Mentioning that, San Francisco, they started 2-0, and they have also fallen apart.
Actually, before we go any further down the list, we should back up. We do have a couple of Bears fans as fans of the show. So shout out to you guys for sticking to it for your entire lives, because I don't. I'm a Bengals fan. I couldn't watch that, so I grabbed another team. But man, the Bears defense is pretty good, but Justin Fields is not getting any help on offense.
Yeah, Nagy just made a whole mess of this situation. For one, like they don't have creative play calls at all. Like they just don't know how to scheme an offense. And then like to top it all off, I mean, you would think at some point, like, you know, they were gonna want to play Fields or like prepare to play Fields. You know, get him some time in preseason with Allen Robinson might have been a good idea. Instead, now like he has no chemistry with his top receiver, and it's just making it impossible for that pass offense to work even.
I saw a meme the other day that said when the internet bullies you into the starting lineup and then you throw 3 picks and have 3 fumbles. It showed Justin Fields like on the bench. Like it was great. The internet's undefeated.
Oh man. Yeah.
There's not really any point to talk about the last like 5 teams in the division. So we can actually just move to.
Well, I think we could talk about the Saints for a moment. That team, who are they still? Like, they have a good record of 4-2. They've had some really good performances, like the one that we mentioned before against the Packers. They also lost to the Giants.
I mean,
team.
I mean, they did just get Mark Ingram. So, I mean, they're going to be a run first offense. They may even have Jameis Winston. Depending, I didn't even see how long Taysom Hill was out, if he's even still out. But they may have Taysom Hill do a bunch of run plays with them, and maybe even throw Jameis Winston into a few run plays.
Yeah, for the most part, they've been running a very conservative offense this year, kind of protecting Winston from throwing interceptions like he did in the past.
Speaking of the Saints, did you see the Manning broadcast the other day?
I missed it, but it was electric. I did hear about
that. Drew Brees was on, and then Manning right before break.
It was so awkward. They asked him what looks different, and then he just went, ha ha, and then they went to commercial.
Yeah, like that was bad. Like,
it
may have been the wording of Peyton's question, but also, like, as I think Drew Brees still wants to play. Like Pat McAfee said this the other day, he still wants to play, or he
thinks he could play,
or he thinks he retired too early. So I think Drew Brees doesn't want to answer questions about the Saints, but he's kind of in the wrong job for that.
Yeah. I don't know. That was a funny moment though the other day. And one more thing, the Seahawks just, man, what a mess their season became.
I know. I had Russell Wilson for fantasy, and I had to actually trade you for Matt Stafford.
Moving on to the AFC now. And obviously there is one surprise that sticks right out. Number one.
There are two surprises here. Because I didn't realize who the number 2 team was. The Bengals are number 1, and somehow the Raiders are number 2, and they fired John Gruden.
Yeah, what a weird division conference this is so far.
Yeah,
the Bengals are number 1 overall right now.
The entire AFC North is in the top half of the standings.
Yeah, that's how ridiculously good that division is. But
I'm excited to see what the Bengals can do, because like Mixon is like 3rd or 4th in rushing. I don't think Burrow's in the top 5, but Chase is in the like top 5 for receiving, and Jamar Chase is like a huge reason why that team is where they're at in the standings.
He has proven to be a huge difference maker. Like, that is absolutely what you want.
He's gonna have a problem with overall
pick. I know. I wonder at this point he was just messing with people. He was like, preseason, he was like, it's so hard to catch the ball, man. And now all of a sudden he's catching everything.
When it comes to the Bengals, though, their true identity is on defense. Like,
yeah,
Awuzie shut down for about half the game. Devontae Adams got a pick off of Aaron Rodgers, and they're just playing lights out football all year. The biggest thing that the Bengals need to do is lock in Jesse Bates now. Give that man as much money as he wants. Because when he's out, that defense kind of sucks. And the way it's going, you're not going to get a high draft pick to get Kyle Hamilton. All the other safeties are meh, and that defense is just going to take a step back if you don't retain him. So even if you have to franchise tag him, which I hate saying that because the players hate franchise tags and it's not fair to the players, but keep that man on that team.
Yeah, definitely. Mike Brown needs to quit being cheap for once. Still don't have an indoor practice facility.
Get a freaking indoor practice facility.
I know. Give this dude an indoor practice facility finally.
Spend $5 billion like the Carolina Panthers did on theirs. And it looks beautiful. I don't know. We did not plan for this to be on the show, but I showed Justin the other day, and it's amazing.
That facility is incredible. That is a state-of-the-art thing.
Yeah.
And that's for the Carolina Panthers. They're not on the big market either. The Bengals could definitely easily do that. The defense came out of
Queen City.
But the Las Vegas Raiders have fired John Gruden, and they're still second in the AFC.
Yeah, Derek Carr was leading the NFL in passing yards for a while. Then
He's
was
second right
surpassed by
now.
Tom. I know, but he was surpassed by Tom Brady. But that offense looks good. Hunter Renfro's been pretty consistent. They just need to get the ball downfield to Ruggs more, and then I think they can have an electric offense.
But yeah, Derek Carr has been on like a whole new level this year. And really, when you look at it, like he's never really gotten his due for how good he is. Derek Carr is actually a really good quarterback.
People always put him on the same tier as Andy Dalton.
Right.
He's better than Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
he's better than Ryan Tannehill too.
Yeah.
And the standings actually show that.
But yeah, he is super good. He is definitely an electric quarterback, and their defense has actually been surprisingly pretty good this year too. Yeah. It was definitely unexpected because they like let go of so many players and stuff and didn't seem to be making the right moves, but they kind of did.
So we are running a little short on time, so we're gonna have to be brief on a few of these teams. So Baltimore Ravens, they're definitely gonna have Lamar Jackson get another MVP this year. That guy's playing so great.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bills. Justin, you got a couple minutes to talk about the Bills.
All right. Well, so far, the defense has been the surprise of the Bills this year. After struggling a lot last year, the defense has really stepped it up this year. They've been looking good on that side of the ball. Josh Allen still looks really good. Just overall, other than the season opener against the Steelers, which was they struggled a lot on that one. They have looked really good. They had the Titans in the ropes and came up just one play short. It's an exciting.
Allen did have Emmanuel Sanders wide open in the end zone and just checked it down. So,
yeah, there's a few misplays and they still have some things to work on, but definitely this team is going to be in the thick of it. They just need to keep it up. We didn't even get to talk about the Titans and freaking Derrick Henry, the ridiculous season he's having.
Yeah,
I mean
that dude's amazing. Like he is on a stretch that is better than Eric Dickerson, better than OJ Simpson. Better than if you compare him to any running back in history, the only one he compares to right now is Jim Brown, and that's pretty good company to be in.
I mean, I think he even surpasses that at this point. The man's an alien. Like he has like I think like 200 to 300 more rushing yards than the next leading running back. He has 10 touchdowns.
His yards after contact is actually number 2 in the NFL for rushing.
Yeah, I mean, how can you tackle the guy? He's like 7 foot and like 400 pounds and runs a 4.4. Like I just don't know how you stop that. Like he has 10 touchdowns this year. Like the next leading running back has, I think, 4. Yeah. It's just absolutely ridiculous the season he's having. How about the Chargers though? We predicted them to step up this year, and that is what they have done.
Kind of. They have had some moments where they kind of just fell flat on their face. They did just come off a bye, so maybe they can turn it around and continue with the momentum that they had in the majority of the first part of the season. But right now, Herbert and Burrow are probably one of the best or two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Like it was a debate last year until Burrow got hurt and everyone was like, oh, Justin Herbert's so much better than Burrow. And then now it's like, I don't know. Burrow and Herbert.
Both those teams made the right decisions.
It's like a Manning and Brady kind of thing, but like if you kind of dumb it down a little bit, because I don't want to compare Burrow and Herbert to Manning and Brady just yet.
Not yet.
The Browns, though, losing Baker is going to hurt, but Case Keenum filled in pretty well.
Yeah,
they just
Baker's expected to be back this week.
They need to have both Chubb and Hunt healthy, and I think Hunt's going to be out for a few weeks, but I think I got a notification saying Chubb is back this week.
Yeah.
So if he can be healthy and Jarvis Landry can be healthy, no one really cares about Odell because he's dropping passes. It doesn't seem like he really wants to be there.
Right.
But Jarvis Landry is their go-to guy. If they need a catch, they always throw it to Landry. So now that Landry's back,
their guy.
Look to that offense to start making some noise here in a little bit, even without Baker.
Definitely. Although I do believe Baker is actually going to be back this week. Apparently, like he's not going to get surgery on that. He's just going to play throughout the rest of the year. But I guess he missed the Thursday night game because he just couldn't go on the
That
torn
was a
label.
quick turnaround. I didn't.
It was too quick
him
of a
to play.
turnaround, I believe. But
As soon as I saw his arm bend backwards, I was like, that guy's not playing this week.
Yeah. And we'll see how it goes. Depends on how many hits he takes, see how he continues the rest of the year, but they definitely need him. The Steelers, on the other hand, their offense.
We don't have to go team by team, but we can if you want.
Their offense is we'll skip some of these. Like, I mean, no one wants to talk about the shitty Jets down there, or the Jaguars, or
the Broncos, or the Dolphins, or the Texans. So we can pretty much just stop at the Chiefs.
But actually, the Dolphins, real quick. Let's just mention that Tua has actually played well, and they're considering trying to trade for Watson, who's just a complete trouble magnet right now. Like, yeah, I don't understand what's up with that team. Like, seriously,
they have a deal on the table, but they want more information.
You're not going to get that.
They want, well, no, not right now, but they want to hear from Roger Goodell if Watson's going to be out, and they want to see Watson settle all of those allegations, but there's still criminal charges pending, or not criminal charges, but like the police are still investigating. The FBI was investigating. Like, they're just by trading for Deshaun Watson doesn't mean that they're going to do anything. They could be actually throwing their future away.
Yeah, they really could. I mean, it's just a dumb move. Like, you're going to trade away like all your future picks for a quarterback when I don't know why they're so impatient with Tua, because when he's actually been healthy, he's been good. He has not been the problem with that team. Their offensive line, their defense, their running backs, all the other positions have basically been an issue for them. But quarterback, when Tua has played, has not been the issue.
That's why Brian Flores is going to get canned.
Yeah.
He's on the hot seat right now.
Oh, they're 1-6. Everyone at the bottom of this board is on the hot seat right now.
Pretty much I wouldn't say Robert Saleh or Urban Meyer are technically on the hot seat. Urban wouldn't be on the hot seat.
Well, Urban's on the hot seat for other reasons.
Yeah, but not because of record. Everyone kind of expected that for their record. Patriots. Actually, did we even talk about the Steelers? We said the Steelers, and I think we moved on.
That's fine. Their offense struggled for a little bit. They're looking a little bit better, but
they got TJ Watt back. They're okay.
They have an outside shot at the wild card. We'll see how they look the rest of the year. They could still end up being the worst team in that absolutely loaded division. The Patriots, on the other hand, they're still limited offensively. Their defense is not the same, but they're kind of sticking around here.
Kind of, but I don't think a rookie Mac Jones is really going to get them very far. I think it's going to take a couple seasons of Mac Jones developing in order for them to start making some noise. And this season, they can fight all they want, but it's mainly just a learning season for Mac Jones.
Yeah, and definitely we haven't really figured anything out about them yet, because so far those 3 wins, the 3-4 record actually looks pretty on this board, but the 3 wins are 2 against the Jets and 1 against the Texans.
Yeah, so they could be absolutely terrible. They could go 5-13. That's the math, right? I'm 12.
They're out 17 games, 5-12.
Yeah, 18 weeks because they had another bye. But Indianapolis Colts,
they struggled early. Can they?
2 sprains. 2 sprains.
Dude, the Carson Wentz experience is something else. I remember early on when he first got in the NFL, he looked like he was going to be super good. And now, as he was with the Eagles, it seemed like he turned into this guy who has to make a play on every play. And sometimes you just see him do the wildest stuff. I can't believe when there was a broken play, he had a guy open, but I don't know if he slipped or tripped or something, and ended up gently tossing the ball to a San Francisco 49er. It's just wild stuff like that sometimes puts his team back. But when he does play well, they can look like a good team. It's just a question of, can they charge the playoffs?
He's playing much better in the pocket with his 2 sprains. When he's not trying to kill himself outside the pocket, then they're actually playing pretty good. They got T.Y. back too, so that's going to be huge. But the Kansas City Chiefs.
It's amazing we need to wait this long.
I know. I didn't want to start with them. I don't feel like it would have been right to start
Right.
with a 3-4 Chiefs team.
But this is probably a good way to like end the show. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10 here, how worried are you about this team?
12. There's no excuse that team who made it to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row with, I don't think they have any offensive injuries. Well, I mean, they have Edwards-Helaire out, but he's not enough to get 4 losses. Like, that's not on him.
Right.
Mahomes needs to step up, and everyone was like, we're going to figure out Lamar Jackson. No, they figured out Pat Mahomes.
It's just, I don't know, like they've mentioned, they're seeing different coverages and stuff they aren't used to seeing, but like, I don't know, like Mahomes looks like he's trying to do too much. They've been throwing interception. He's been throwing more interceptions than he ever has in his whole career.
They almost have to pass every play, and I'm pretty sure that's why. Because Clyde Edwards-Helaire has not lived up to what the step up that he needed for this year. Darrell Williams, very clear backup. So they don't really have much at the running back position. So he has to throw the ball. And like they could give Kelsey on like an end around, or definitely they do Tyreek Hill end arounds and Nicole Hardman end arounds, but they're not going to lead the team in rushing unless they break one.
Right. And overall, like they actually really don't really have many weapons outside of Kels and Hill. Hardman just has never panned out as an actual offensive player. He's only been a return specialist for the most part.
He fumbled twice this season already.
Yeah. He fumbles a lot. He runs the wrong routes. There's so many miscommunications with Mahomes. Mahomes ends up yelling at him on the sidelines. Like, it has not worked out for him being the number 2 receiver, and they don't really have anyone else stepping up right now. So that's a bit of a challenge. But really, the big problem is their defense can't stop a nosebleed right now. Like they can't stop the run or the pass, and those are the 2 things that offenses do. I mean, they need to be able to at least even stop one of them.
You can stop punting, I guess, but
I think
they stopped teams from punting, Justin. They win.
Yeah, they have. But like I have faith that this offense can get fixed at some point. But this defense is why I don't have the confidence in right now. They have been just terrible at everything. Like there was like a stat thing that came up the other day, and I wish I had found it for the show, but like they literally rank like almost last in like every defense category possible. Like that's not good. They need to fix it somehow, and I don't know how they can do it.
All right, we are running dangerously close on time. We did a longer show this week on purpose. We haven't seen you guys in such a long time, so
we were just a little excited,
Yeah. So, Justin, any last quick thoughts?
I think they heard me talk enough today.
All right. Well, we are going to try to be back next week. We will not keep you updated. Just keep an eye out for. No, I'm playing. We may keep you updated, but keep an eye out for any more videos that we post. And we will talk to you guys later. See you guys.
Have a good one, everybody.